What is your occupation? Driver. You are working for the defendant? Yes, sir. And for how long have you worked for them? Well, I worked for the father 11 years, and I worked for the estate 2.5 years. You are a married man? Yes, sir. On May 16th, 1992, you were driving what we have been calling here a semi-tractor trailer? Yes, sir. On the particular day, you had started out at 12 o'clock? 12 o'clock. And there was an accident there at that time, is that correct? Yes, sir. Now, will you tell us, as you were driving up this hill, what first attracted your attention to the accident? What occurred? When I got to the foot of the hill, I put it in low speed and went right on over until the accident happened. Then I got out and I asked the man what was wrong with him, and he didn't answer me. To get back, what made you know there was an accident? I heard the crash. Up to the time you heard the crash, in which direction had you been proceeding? Going north. What gear were you in? First speed. And for how long a distance had you been in first speed? 600 feet. At the time when the crash came, or just before it had, you had been changing gears? No, sir. Did your car at any time just before the crash came slip backward on that hill? No, sir. About how fast was it going? 3 or 4 miles an hour. Did you have a big load on this day? 12 tons. And what was the load? What kind of material was it? It was partition block. Will you indicate with your hands or by measurements the size of these partition blocks? They are 2 by 12 by 30, 30 inches long, 2 inches thick, and 12 inches wide. Did any portion of those blocks extend back over the rear of the truck? No, sir. What was at the back or rear of the truck, across the back of the truck? There was a tarpaulin. I show you this picture, and I ask you if this fairly represents the positions of the two trucks as you got off and looked at them right after the crash occurred. Yes, sir. Does it? Yes, sir. To go back, you say that after the crash occurred, you got off your truck? Yes, sir. When you got off, did you see the car which had run into your car? Yes, sir. And where was the front part? Right underneath the trailer. At that time, in which direction was this trailer which had run into your car headed? He was going the same direction as I was. Was he turned or was he straight ahead? No, he was straight ahead. Did you see the windshield on that car? Yes, sir. Was it broken? Yes, sir. Was there any material out around the front, any cakes or anything out around the front of the hood on this car? Yes, there were. Now, at that time when you got off, was there any other car in back, close in back of this car, which had run into the back of your truck? There was no cars around at all. You are positive of that? Yes, sir. Did you see any other car there later on? Yes, a few minutes after the accident, coming down the hill. Coming down? Yes, sir. Did you stay there until the officer came? Yes, sir. When the officer came, the cars were in the same position as is represented in this photograph? Yes, sir. Referring to Defendant's Exhibit A, did you have a picture taken later in the morning of these two cars? Well, I couldn't get any place open until a little before 9 o'clock. Then did you have a picture taken? That is the picture I had taken right there. Were the cars just the same position at that time? The cars were not moved from the time of the accident until the picture was taken. Just before the crash occurred, where were you driving on the driveway? Which side of the street? To the right. I show you this picture and ask you if you were driving in the portion of the roadway where the truck is shown on the picture. That is just the way she stood at the time of the accident. It had never been moved. At that time, were you braking your truck in good condition? Yes, sir. After the picture was taken, was there then an effort made to separate the cars? Yes, sir. And did you at first attempt to pull forward? Yes, sir. Were you able to, from the car, to pull forward by starting? Yes, sir. What was done? I got a rock from across the street, and I put it under the back wheel under my wheel. Was that in front of your wheel or in back of it? That was in front of my wheel. At the time I was trying to get away from him, I put that rock on my wheel to raise myself to unhook from him, and I couldn't do it. She went over the rock, and I still dragged him. After that, were other means taken? The officer went across the street in the garage and got 2 bars and a spring leaf. There were 5 or 6 of us there, releasing the bumper, as I understand it, from some part underneath your truck? Yes, sir. Was there any number at all of any kind that hung out 4 or 5 feet in back of your truck? No, sir, there was no lumber at all on my truck. After you freed your car, did you pull ahead some distance? Yes, I went on through to the next town.